This is Melissa here today on Overhauled. Today I have Ivy, and she works at Caterpillar. She's super cool. Is Caterpillar's excavators, are they EH? Electric, hydraulic, electric over hydraulic? So like their joysticks and everything are electric?
Not well, the ones that we were doing it on, they are, or the ones we were doing it on, they weren't, but the newer ones are. We were working on ones that are built in, I think, 2008, so they were ancient. We'd have.
So they were like completely pilot controlled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what exactly does the calibration do? Does it like fuck with the control, like solenoids on the control valve for like flow?
Yeah, it like so you'll take it out in the middle of the yard and you'll set the machine to calibrate itself, and it'll do a whole bunch of measurements where it's like, okay, touch on the dirt, and then it'll read that measurement from the a lot of them have position sensors in the cylinders.
Oh,
Move, and then I'll set it, and then max lift and everything. So you can
okay.
program the machine just to do it all on its own and not.
Okay, I didn't know they had sensors in the cylinders. That makes more sense because my brain like is trying to like figure out how that would work. I didn't know. That's cool that they have fucking sensors in the.
Dope until they fail, and you gotta fucking break apart the whole cylinder and take that one thing out and put it back together.
Yeah, Deere is like I mean I don't know if you how much you know about Deere, but Deere excavators are pretty much most of them. Some of the older ones are actually Deere, but all the new ones, all the modern-ish ones from like D series up are all actually Hitachi with yellow paint and sometimes a Deere engine, right? Like we're pretty much it's a Hitachi, which is also why John Deere dealerships were certified for Hitachi excavators. Those were all pilot. Like everything on that is pilot control. Everything. That's why it has like the giant pilot manifold on it. And like they didn't have any sensors in the cylinders or anything. And that's actually so to do the like grade control shit for you know how dozers and shit you can put like in graders you can put sensors on the blades and then like position sensors on the machines, and then they're all EH, so you can just program that shit, like plug it into the controllers with this new screen controller, and it all works together for auto control or auto grade and shit like that. Well, Deere was trying to get into that market for excavators. Well, they couldn't really, because like what the fuck are you gonna do with a machine that's completely pilot? Like you can't, like we have no sensors in our cylinders. We had like none of that shit, and that's actually part of the reason why John Deere split off from Hitachi. So all of their newest excavators that are coming out are like they say they're Deere excavators now, but they bought a bunch of shit from Hitachi, like the boom, this machine still looks like a fucking Hitachi. It's still like they bought a bunch of the rights from Hitachi, right, for like some of the framing and the structures and the hydraulic components and shit like that, which I actually pissed somebody off at the I don't know if you went to the Con Expo this year in Vegas. It was cool. But I got to go and see the Deere because I wanted to see these new excavators because I left the industry right as they were coming in, or right as they were going to come into the. They're not even. Some of them aren't even released yet. But I wanted to see them. Like I gotta see these John Deere excavators. I gotta see these new excavators that are supposedly John Deere. So I went over there and I'm looking at these excavators, and all their panels are locked because they don't want people to see in it because it's like all the older ones are unlocked, but these new ones are locked because they don't want people seeing their secrets. It's like, my fucking god, you guys are taking this way too serious. And I'm talking to this guy. I'm like, so I'm not really seeing anything on this machine besides the EH part of it that is different from Hitachi. And did he get pissed off? He's like, this is a John Deere. John Deere makes these in their factory. I'm like, yeah. John Deere also rolled out Hitachi's excavators from the same fucking factory. So, like, what is different on here? Like, I'm trying to understand. I just want to understand. I just want to know. Like, are the pumps different? Like, are the motors different? Like, what are they doing that's different besides just EH? And he, like, went on this whole sales pitch to me as a mechanic who has no interest in buying these machines at all, ever, about how, like, this is John Deere, and John Deere these are new and improved, and we left Hitachi. I'm like, clearly not, because that boom is the fucking same. And then finally he's like, well, we did buy some of the structural and hydraulic designs and shit from Hitachi. Like, there we go, there's the truth. You don't have to fucking bullshit me. I just want to know. I'm just curious. You won't let me look at it because all the panels are locked. I should have brought my fucking keychain.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same across everything. Goddamn. No, we have those skid steers that we have. They're all made by Kubota. So, like, you'll look at...
Oh, really?
All the freaking Cat stickers on it. It's like, oh, it's made by Cat. It's a 3.4 whatever engine. And you're like, uh-huh. And then you go into... we have, for troubleshooting stuff, SIS. That's what we call our, like, information website. But, like, you'll go into it and you'll try to look up just the engine, and there's nothing on it because it's all made by Kubota. You're like, well, no, these newer ones are...
They don't have that integrated for you guys?
No. And, like...
That sucks.
Oh, telehandlers? I don't know if you, like, played around with those, but those...
Yep, I've done some work on those.
Yep.
Man, no information on them either. They might say Cat all over it and be Cat branded, but there's nothing on them. I was like, damn.
Is it a telehandler brand? What brand is it? Or JLG?
Was it, not JLG, it's the blue one. Can't remember.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what the name is.
We work a lot with that shit, and I hate when customers, because they'll buy yellow, because yellow's like, oh, this is gonna, like, be built different and, like, better than all these other brands and stuff, and so they'll buy it and work it extra hard. We've had a few times where the chain on the inside of the boom breaks, and so, I mean, you've crawled down all the way through the stages to see if you can undo it, say fuck it, and cut out the boom, and you're like, oh, such ass. But, like, working on stuff that's branded, having nothing sucks.
I'm so surprised the Cat doesn't have... Because, like, John Deere, their Hitachi stuff, and Isuzu. We have Isuzu in the Hitachi excavators, and we have our little John Deere, like, excavators, and our little skid steers have... Some of them have Deere engines, and some of them have... not Isuzu. Yamaha, or not Yamaha, Yanmar, sorry. Yanmar. All of those brands, for all that shit, all their manuals, for the most part, is integrated into Service Advisory.
Oh, that's fucking cheating, man. Can't Google.
John Deere has one thing that's better than Caterpillar.
Fuck yeah, different color yellow. No, man.
I feel that, though, for you. I feel that because everybody has that stigma that Cat's better, right? Everybody has a stigma. Everybody thinks that, yep, that Cat is, like, the best and the strongest, and you gotta get... Dude, I got fucking shit from my dad's garage that he gave me before he moved to Oregon. That motherfucker, you should see this motherfucker's collection of Cat bolts. This motherfucker, I think, had, like, one Cat machine. The rest were, like... You know, Tiger, he's a logger, so like Tiger Cat or Timber Pro, shit like that. And he's link belt, and he has an entire fucking, like, organizer this big and this deep full of fucking cat bolts. Because cat bolts are stronger. They're actually a slightly higher grade, which I do think they are. A slightly higher grade. But... yeah, I have probably like $4,000 worth of fucking cat bolts. That I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this.
It's like, great, nice, okay, I don't know where I'm gonna use this. Down the road, you'll be like, oh, I need this one fucking bolt, and it's a weird thread pitch and length. Oh, fuck, Cat has it. There we go. Fuck yeah.
Thank you, Dad, for this fucking $4,000 bolt collection. I have my own bolt collection. I used to be the mechanic that, like, had 5-gallon buckets full of bolts. I used to be that person that every time I needed a bolt, I had to dump all of it out on the floor and spread it out and look through it and then put it all back in. And finally, I'm like, no, you're going to get an organizer tray thingy for your toolbox. You're going to put it in your toolbox. And if the fucking bolt don't fucking fit in there anymore. It's gonna go in the trash. Well, that worked really well for a long time until now. I have 2 tool carts. I upgraded from my little green Snap-on tool cart to like a bigger Matco one. I bought it used. It was cheap. So I was like, fuck it. It's bigger. I'm going to use it. I have the entire bottom drawer that is like this tall and this wide full of like 3 bolt organizers now. And I'm like, well, at least they're organized, right? At least it's not a 5-gallon bucket.
Fucking fancy ones, yeah. Damn, yeah.
So yeah, now I tell myself
The fucking new cat shit. I don't know if you have like all the machines are like standard for a while, for like a few years, and then it switches to metric after a few years or whatever, or now they're all metric. Holy shit, I had one machine that had like 8 bolts on the manifold that were standard and 4 that had metric, and then once you...
Oh, that's fucking annoying.
I can't do it anymore.
For the most part, yeah, that's fucking annoying. I fucking hate that shit. For the most part, John Deere was all metric. For the most part. Besides the hydraulic lines. Those were standard. But they just started switching over to metric hydraulic shit now. So now it's like, dude, what am I... All my angle wrenches and everything, from like tiny as fuck to like 2 1/4, are all fucking standard. Thanks, John Deere. Thanks.
Yeah, 40mm wrench. Like, goddamn, what the fuck?
Why? Why? We could have just left it the way it was. It was fine. Well, so I have up to 1 1/4 angle wrenches in Snap-on. The rest are the like Harbor Freight jumbo angle wrench sets. Because why the fuck would you buy Snap-on that big? Like, why? I really don't feel like buying a $400 one single wrench, right?
Holy shit.
But like, Pittsburgh doesn't make giant metric ones, so what am I supposed to do now?
Oh, SunX.
Air hammer time, air hammer everything.
No, I went into SunX, and there was another one. Icon's getting really good now, like the Harbor Freight brand. I was like, hell yeah. But like Snap-on, it's like, oh, you want a 46mm socket? You're going to have to pay $842. Good luck.
For one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I feel that. I've got, like, people have always asked me, like, what's your favorite tool brand? Like, what did you recommend? And it's like, I recommend buying what the fuck you want to buy. Like, I personally, I won't buy anything but a Snap-on ratchet. I won't buy anything but Snap-on hand wrenches for, like, the smaller sizes, right? For the most part, I won't buy ratcheting wrenches that aren't Snap-on. There's quite a few things that I have that are Snap-on, specifically. Ratchets are a big thing. Torque wrenches, shit like that. But I have, like, Cornwell Blue Power impact sockets that I've had since the fucking semi-shop that I started in. I don't even count that into my experience. Like, before I even started at John Deere, like, I've had those Blue Power Cornwell fucking impact sockets. We're great. They're great. I have, like, Blue Point shit. I got Blue Power Cornwell shit. I've got, like, the Matco, you know the long, like, double-end ratcheting wrenches that Matco makes? I have those. I got those for doing bell housing bolts on grader transmissions. Because they are, like, Hulk himself has put these fucking things in there. They're small. They're only, like, a 14mm head. Or a 13mm head. But they're tight as fuck.
Loctite?
No, they're 15. I think they're blue Loctited. It's a pain in the ass to get in there, and it's really close, like, the bolt head itself is really close to the bell housing, like, curve up. So you can't put a ratchet on it. You can't fit a ratchet. And I borrowed my boss's, like, at the time he had a set of those, and he's like, oh, I bought these just for that job, and I borrowed it one time, like, yep, I'm buying these. So I have that set, which I actually love. But I also have, like, the Harbor Freight jumbo wrenches, and my fucking angle grinder is Harbor Freight. Like...
Works.
You know, I've never understood the people that can have, like, Harbor Freight and Craftsman ratchets and shit like that because I can't
Click for me. Ugh.
I can't do that. I can't. Yeah, the 8-tooth ratchet. I'm like, no, that's so maddening. That is so maddening.
Yeah. Oh man, start frustration right there. The little 80 tooth, like don't give me an 8-tooth ratchet. Put a 0 behind it and give me the snap-on one or some shit. And I'll
Yep.
give it the what we would call it work is like giving it the beans. You'll fucking sit on that snap-on ratchet and it'll be like, it's fine. It won't break.
Right.
It's fine.
Well, and if it does break, then it's warranted. So
yeah. Oh, and
I've broken a 1/2 inch. You know those like the 1/2 inch drive ratchets that like the long handle wobbly with the locking tooth, like you can lock it. I've broken one of those before. That was cool, but it was warranted. So
I like the Matco. We have all the guys except Cornwell come around, and Matco's coming out with a wrench extender. And I bought the bigger one. I think it goes up to like 1.25 inches. We were working on something at home, so I brought it, and the wrench wasn't enough to get it. I put the extender on there. It wasn't enough, so I definitely didn't put a cheater pipe on it. And then the freaking tab that holds that extender, it came loose,
Yep.
but when it came loose, I smacked it up, and it hit again, and it popped that tab. It broke, but it did its job, and it was warranted. So.
I have one of those. I have 2 of those actually. Those like the ones that's got the little hooks on the and you like hook it on, and then it's got like a mine have a square drive at the end of them, so you can put like my big one I think is a 3/4 inch drive, and then my little one is a 1/2 inch drive. I use the fuck out of those things. I love those fucking things. Well, so this is why I bought them originally. I was working at an ag dealership, and I was trying. I don't know how your guys' ag tractors are set up, or if your dealers. I know Caterpillar like splits their shit like John Deere does, and they're not Cat. I don't think either. They're like Challenger that with cat paint. But anyways, I was working on this tractor, and the engine is bolted to the frame. Like directly onto the frame. That's how their big ag tractors all are. Except for the 9Rs. Those actually have frames. But most of their ag tractors are all like the engine is bolted to the frame, which is also the front axle housing, which then bolts to the transmission directly, which then bolts to like a spacer, which then bolts to like the hydraulic pump drive, and then bolts to the rear axle, and it's all just bolted together. It's really giant pain in the ass to work on. Like if you want to do a transmission or a pump drive on those, you have to split the tractor. Like, take the cab off, take the fuel tank off, take everything off, and split them in half. Like, completely fucking, it's annoying. Anyways, I was doing this engine, and so because it's bolted down to the frame, all of the oil pan bolts are technically engine mount bolts, right? So they're pretty decent sized bolts. So there's like 100 of them. And I had just cut my hand. Like a day prior, or 2 days prior to this, I was working on a combine, and I was doing a valve adjustment on the engine, and I was trying to clean the gasket. Like, it was one of those like older engines with like the cardboard looking gasket material on it that gets hard and doesn't come off. Yeah, I was trying to clean that off, and like a dumbass, I literally just had a razor blade with no handle or nothing. I was literally just holding a razor blade trying to fucking scrape this fucking, like a dumbass, holding it, and I slipped and I cut my hand with the razor blade and ended up getting 8 stitches, like 2 days prior to this fucking engine that I'm doing. So I'm putting this engine in and I'm bolting it in, and I'm trying to tighten all of these fucking bolts for this engine are torque turn. All of them. All of them are like 60 degrees torque turn. Like, what the fuck? And really? So I'm sitting there doing this, and I have one of those magnetic torque, like, it's like this little Browning, I think is the brand, orange, like digital torque gauge. You can literally just magnetic stick it to anything and torque degree shit. I love that tool. So I've got this thing on the wrench that's on the bolt. Naturally, you can't fit a ratchet on there, naturally. And then I'm double wrenching it. I'm buddy wrenching it, right? Doing the buddy system with the wrenches. And I'm pushing this fucking thing, trying to fucking torque turn it, and the second wrench slips, and I bust my fucking hand that I just got stitches in onto the fucking giant fender holder bracket, and bust my fucking wound all the way open again. It starts bleeding like a motherfucker. And I'm like... So then that day happens to be the day that the Cornwall guy showed up, and I bought me a little wrench buddy extender, like actual wrench extender, because I was damned if I was gonna fucking bust my knuckles and bust my hands open again.
I was working with one of my buddies. We went through the program together. We were working on this freaking loader, and it is an ancient fucking loader. We were working on it was a 930, so it's like a kind of a medium loader. And the fucking AC wasn't working. It wasn't blowing hard at all. The fucking compressor wouldn't kick on for some reason. And, like, we were troubleshooting it like a motherfucker. But we get all the AC fixed and everything. Find out the squirrel cage on the fucking fan was flipped backwards, so it wasn't blowing at all. Like, oh, great. So we flip everything, and it's all underneath the seat. And the fucking seat is heavier than, like, I don't know, any large dog. It's like 120 pounds. You're like,
Yep.
manhandling it up there. My dumb ass fucking, I was like hating life because you're like, fucking goddamn piece of shit, get back in there. My dumb ass left the fucking chair mounting bolts in, so I'm fighting it to try to get it to level, and it won't fucking level, and it got caught on one of the heads of the bolts, and I'm smacking it with my hand, and I smack it, and the back of the chair has like a straight edge for the back of the frame of the chair, whatever. And there's a glass sheet right behind it. And I smack it. Don't break the glass, but I freaking cut open my finger and I'm like, motherfucker, and like slam it in. And I go to get out and I turn my hand really quick, and just my buddy's standing there and he's like, oh blood, oh geez, just covered in like everything. And I was like, fuck. I ended up New Skin as like my best friend because I was like, I don't want to get stitches. It doesn't look that bad. Just fucking hold it together. Fucking, I brake cleaned it because that's, it's.
Oh, naturally.
Yeah, and then New Skin, call it good. I was like, God damn, man. Whew.
I've gotten stitches twice and should have gotten stitches 3 times. In the left hand. It's always my left hand. I got the bit. I have a cut. You can't see this on the camera, but I have a cut from here to here. Maybe. Here to here. That's the one I did with the razor blade. And that one, I did the same thing you did, right? I'm like panicking. So I run off the top of this combine and I go in the bathroom and I got like Band-Aids. And I'm looking at it and I'm washing it out and I'm like, I got the like alcohol shit, I'm washing it out, and I go and like I pinch it and it's like deep as shit, and I'm like, ooh, this is bad, this is really bad. So I go to the parts guy and I'm like, hey, do you think this needs stitches? And he's like, oh my god, yes, yeah, definitely needs stitches. So the boss is gone, naturally. So the poor kid that drove me to the fucking doctor is the only person in the shop that is queasy with blood. So that was interesting. Then the second time I cut my hand open, I have a giant scar right here. That was only a couple of stitches, but those those exhaust clamps with like the little T on the end of the bolt that slides into the little grooves and it like sucks it together. So I had one of those on a tractor that I was splitting, actually. And I put the clamp back on, and I had just loosened it enough to be able to pry that T-piece out of the back of the clamp, of that exhaust clamp. And then, so I pushed it back in, and this, like, the threads were rusted, and this thing was fucked. And it kept, like, spinning out, and it wouldn't stay in there and catch so I could tighten it with my impact. So my dumbass is like, I'm just gonna hold the back end of it with my hand and run the impact. Well, that motherfucker stuck my hand into the exhaust clamp. And so I had this giant fucking hole of ripped skin in my hand. That was cool. That was nasty. That would hurt worse. That would hurt the worst. Because it didn't just cut nice and clean. It like grabbed my fucking hand and ripped it into pieces.
Ooh. Nice.
And then the third one that I remember, at least, I have a scar right here, but I think that was from a grinder, is this one, and that I cut again with a razor blade that I had no handle on, and I was trying to cut a filter open, because you know how you can like cut the top off of hydraulic filters and then lay it, or oil filters, and then lay them out, like you can cut them and then lay the particle out and then look at it. That's what I was trying to do. And I slipped again and sliced my thumb open, and I'm like, fuck, I really don't want it. Like, me and my boss are like, God damn it, we can't tell the parts guy because, or like slash store manager, because he's gonna fucking freak out and have a kitten, right? Like, we just don't want to deal with his fucking ass at all. We don't want to make a report. Fuck that guy. I'll be fine. So I'm over there, and my boss is trying to help me, and he grabs alcohol pads. And I've cut myself. I'm a hunter. I've cut myself 1,000 times. I'm a hunter. Like, I've gutted animals before. I have butchered animals before. And I'm sitting there looking at this with the blood. And he gives me straight up alcohol pads. And I start cleaning it. And, like, digging those alcohol pads into there. And I pass the fuck out. Like, I'm standing by the workbench and cleaning it. And all of a sudden, I pass the fuck out. And I wake up to my boss trying to pick me up off the ground. And holding his head. I'm like, what the fuck? Apparently, I passed out. He tried to catch me, hit his head on the fucking vise, trying to catch me. So that we were both injured at that point. So apparently, I learned